Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Realtor Nation Podcast, episode 9. My name is Ian Hoover, and I am the host of this podcast, and I'm very excited to bring to you the Realtor Nation, a show to help you improve your business. My goal is to bring you some of the most successful agents in the business and talk to them and ask them the questions that every realtor wants to know. 87% of real estate professionals fail. It's time to change that. The agents that I'm interviewing have not only succeeded, but they're truly some of the most talented agents in our business. Also, Realtor Nation, we're looking for some more successful agents to be interviewing. So if you're interested in being on our podcast, please email me a quick resume to ian@ianhoover.com. We have a very special episode today. Mike Maletich with Real Producers Magazine is here with us today. If you don't know Real Producers Magazine, it's sent out to the top agents in the market. They showcase agents and brokerages in the magazine so you can actually get to know the people behind our business. So without further ado, I'm pleased to bring to you Mike. Welcome in, Mike.
Thanks, Deacon. Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming in. I'm going to start off by asking a little bit about you. You have an interesting background. What attracted you to our industry?
Well, my background is fairly interesting. I was in publishing for a while. And when the opportunity to do a magazine for top real estate agents kind of came onto my radar, I had some pretty established relationships with real estate agents in the Pittsburgh market. I love the fact that real estate agents have an entrepreneurial spirit. Top ones do. And they have what I like to call the hustle factor. They're always hustling to kind of build the business. But they also have interesting stories. And I thought if I could be an outlet to kind of highlight those stories to help agents that are working together get to know each other better, I thought it was a pretty interesting opportunity and something that would be pretty viable in the market, and it's paid off exponentially for everybody involved, I think.
Wow, that's great. So, before this, you also did another magazine, correct?
I did. The company that I have purchased franchise with is called N2 Publishing. And I did neighborhood magazines in Pittsburgh for about 7 years. I worked with high-end golf course communities to do their private monthly newsletters, Treesdale and Nevillewood, and Diamond Run, and the Villa of North Park. And it was through those magazines that I had real estate agents that were advertising with me in those publications, and that's how those relationships grew. I had a number of agents that had advertised with me for 7 years straight, and when I called them up and said, hey, I've got this idea to do a magazine for top agents. We'd like to do an article about you and tell your story, and it's not going to cost anything. They jumped at the chance, and when they jumped at the chance of that, I knew it would be a pretty good fit.
Wow, okay. And when you talk about that other magazine you did, and obviously real estate agents, paid to advertise in it, do you happen to have any statistics on like what kind of a bang for the buck or what kind of return on investment like doing a magazine advertisement was for a real estate agent? Just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I do and I don't. And what I mean by that is real estate agents are famous for farming communities. They will invest time and money into higher end communities, and knowing and understanding that they're probably not going to make any money back from that advertising for 2, 3, 4 years. But their goal is to just build a reputation and a relationship as kind of like the go-to agent among a small group of people. I have a couple agents. One is a Caldwell Banker agent that's become a very close friend that advertised with me in Treesdale neighborhood for 7 years. And she didn't get a listing for 4.5 or 5 years. But in the last 2 years she worked with me, she had probably 25 listings in that neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
So it paid off over the long haul, but it's not something in real estate. When somebody's considering farming a community, they're going into it understanding and knowing that it's a long-term play for a gain way down the road.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I personally have never really done much farming. Something I've never really felt like doing, or maybe because I don't have the patience. I don't see the quick return. But yeah, I definitely think you'd probably have to have patience to do farming, because it's definitely not a get rich quick scheme or anything like that.
Not at all. Not at all.
So you interview the elite in our business. Tell us something that you were surprised to learn when you started doing this.
I was surprised to learn that not everybody does the same thing. My expectation is I would talk to, 10 real estate agents that are doing $10 to $15 million a year, and every one of them would say, this is the silver bullet, and it would all be the same thing. But it's so unique in the fact that every real estate agent has a different plan, and they're doing different things, but what is the same is they're all doing something. Brian Tessier, who both of you and I know, has become a close friend, and Brian really took a jump about 7 years ago. And he said his big move was, I just showed up to the office every day at 8 in the morning and started treating this like it was a job. I had another agent that went from about 3 million to 12 million over a 2-year period, and her silver bullet was, I'm going to call 100 for sale by owners every single week. I had another agent tell me that their silver bullet was they were just available in the office to do 8 to 12 open houses every single month, and they picked up clients that way. I mean, what I expected was that there was going to be something that every top agent was doing. And there was, and that something was they were all doing something. They were not sitting around waiting for business to come to them, but they were getting business different ways based on their personalities, based on what they liked, based on what they didn't like, based on what they felt they were good at. So it was unique, but not unique in the same respect.
Wow. That's a great take on it. And I like that you could tell, while you have a vast knowledge of our industry, you can tell that you have like an outsider's take on it, which I really like. And it's a very interesting spin on things.
What's funny, Ian, is I do have an outsider's take. When I started Pittsburgh Real Producers, I didn't even know what a buyer's agent was. I didn't know what a title company did. So I'm 2 years into this. I've never sold a home. I don't have a real estate license. I don't have affiliations to anybody. But what I have a unique opportunity to do is sit down with 3 to 5 real estate agents every week that last year sold $5 to $50 million, and they tell me their story, and they tell me how they succeeded, how they failed, how they overcame, what they're passionate about. And it's very, very unique that every single top producing agent that I meet with, there is a burning desire. Like if they're not doing something, they're going crazy. And that is the first niche for being highly successful. When you have that desire, that burning desire to win, it might not happen overnight, but it'll happen like the water beats the rock, man. It'll happen eventually. It's the burning desire to go make something happen.
So that actually brings me to something I didn't have on my list, but I'm intrigued to know. So everybody who's, at least I feel like everybody who's a successful entrepreneur, they have that burning desire. They have that want to be the best, or want to be a winner. So why is it that you only send your magazine to the top producing agents in the market?
2 reasons. Number one is price.
Got to make money. Okay.
If you've seen Pittsburgh Real Producers magazine, it's a very high quality publication. The paper is very high quality. The photography is very high quality. It's not something cheap. We spare no expense. It's the highest quality of everything. So it costs a lot of money to send it. If we added another 100 real estate agents, it would probably cost another $1,000 a month. But what we found, that's one reason, price. But what we found across markets is a majority of the business is done by the few. If you looked at, it's not in real estate, it's not the 80-20 rule. It's more like the 90-10 rule. If you looked at the Pittsburgh market, about 75 to 80% of the volume is done by the top 500 agents. And there's 5,500 real estate agents in Pittsburgh. But the top 500 closed 23,000 deals and sold $5 billion last year. So we're we're really sending it to and telling the stories of the movers and the shakers. And when I can sit in front of a mortgage lender and say, I'm not going to introduce you to just quote unquote any old real estate agent, we're focused on building relationships with people that have done 5 million or more, or sold 50 to 400 homes last year. That's valuable for a vendor. It really is. So those are the two reasons.
Now, can somebody who's interested in your publication, who's not a top producer, can they go and pay for your magazine?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we have a subscription process, and, we're not focused on selling subscriptions. We don't make any money on subscriptions. So if somebody wants to subscribe to it and they're number 650 in the market, it's $100 a year, which is what it costs us to produce 12 issues. And we'll add them to the mailing list. We will not permit anybody who's not a real estate agent or a broker to get the publication. But if somebody is a or somebody's a real estate agent in Pittsburgh and they want to subscribe, they can definitely do that.
Okay, great. And where would they go to? Would they just contact you directly through your website, or?
Yeah, they can just go onto our Facebook page, Pittsburgh Real Producers on Facebook, and private message us there, and I'll reach back out to them, and we can make that happen.
Because the one thing that I love about your magazine is it's in the back. It's the list of where you rank, the ranker, right? The stacker. And even back in my retail days, I used to love getting that stacker in my email and seeing where I stacked up against the competition. So even if even if you're not a top producing agent, I would recommend going and doing that, because it gives you something to strive for. It gives you another chip on your shoulder, gives you some motivation to continue building your business.
Yep, that's true.
So out of the agents you've interviewed and everything, we've talked about how everybody's a little different. Everybody does things a little different, but I'm sure there's something that you hear very consistently. I probably don't know what that is, but can you touch on that? Is there something that every agent does do, whether it's maybe keeping up with their contact sphere, or what do you hear when you're interviewing these agents that are similar all the way across the board?
Well, I would say if there's been an agent that has been around for a while, one of the things that all top agents that have probably been doing this for longer than 7 to 10 years will tell me is I get a lot of business from my past customers. So if I were a newer agent just coming onto the scene, I would make sure that I have a system in play where I have every contact that I've ever made in real estate documented and saved. And I have a system of follow-up for those people, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. I mean, here's a great example. I met with 2 weeks ago an agent that did about $26 million last year. He's a Caldwell Banker agent in the South Hills, top agent, going to be on the cover of the magazine in February, I think. And he said his nugget was every single day he gets out his past contacts, and he contact 5 days a week. He'll make 5 outgoing phone calls just to touch base with people that are in his contact list. And he said, Mike, it's incredible. I'll just reach out to somebody and call and wish them a happy birthday or give them some insider information about a new tax law that's coming. And after that phone call, probably anywhere between 10 days to 2.5 months later, there's a good chance that I'll get a random email because they're at a party and somebody's thinking about listing their house, and somebody's like, oh, ironically, I just talked to my agent. And he's like, I get a lot of business just because I'm in constant contact with my past clients. So 5 people a day. Now he's got a big Rolodex of clients because he's been doing this for 20 years. But just the little things, like if I were a real estate agent, I would make sure that I knew when everybody's birthday was. And I would not send out cards note. I would probably make a personal phone call just to say, hey, just wanted to say happy birthday. Hope you're having just leaving that personal touch to make sure that my clients remembered my name would be something that I would that would be on the forefront of my mind.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, the amount of surprise that people have when you call them and you're like, hey, I just want to call and wish you a happy birthday. Hope you have a wonderful day. And they're just like, wow, really? Like,
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming they know we're busy. They also know that we're not like maybe their friend or their family member. So just the fact that we are taking time out of our day, it makes them feel special. And I think that it definitely does help your business, and it makes them think about you when that opportunity to refer does come up. So that's a great point. And there are some fantastic softwares out there that literally every day you just log in and it gives you 5 people to call that's in your contact sphere. And so if you feel like that's something that could be hard for you to do, it would be very easy to, if you just get one of those softwares. So that's a great point. So one of the reasons why I do this podcast is because a part statistic, actually I think it's a NAR statistic, and I'm bad with that word, is 87% of real estate agents fail in our business by the 5th year that they're in the business. So why do you think that is?
Well, I think in the general public, there is an overriding perception that real estate is easy. My neighbor sold their home for $300,000. 3% of $300,000 is that. How hard could it be to list a home, schedule a walkthrough, and sell it? And what people don't realize is, and I've never done it, but I've met with enough agents to know that real estate is probably one of the toughest jobs that there is. And if you don't have a love for it, you're just not going to last long. If my son wanted to go into real estate, I would say I highly recommend it. But don't think that you're going to go into it and life is going to be easy. You got to work, and you got to push, and you got to strive, and you got to network, and you got to go into it that perception. So I think 87% of the people that enter real estate do it because they feel like it's an easy $50,000 a year. And it takes them 5 years to realize that it's a very hard $8,000 a year. Probably.
Right. Yeah, it definitely it can be hard to build your business, and then but once you get to a point where your business is paying you back for all the hard work you did, it can be very rewarding. So it's a nice take on it. I personally, one of the reasons that I feel like that people fail in this industry is because it looks so easy, and then you get in and then you're like, oh crap, how do I get this business? How do I get that buyer that I can sell a house to? How do I get that listing? So that's one of those things. And you brought a great point. You just got to work. You got to grind. Every single day has to be, what do I do today? You got to put that 10 or 12 hour day in every single day to build that business up.
True.
So Real Producers Magazine, what do you think it brings to us as agents?
Well, we look at Real Producers, really the magazine, as a platform. And out of the platform of Real Producers Magazine, our goal is really to tell the stories about top performing real estate agents that other top performing agents in the market can't Google and find out. Not many people know that Lauren Klein has 7 children. I can't tell you how many people after her story ran went, oh my gosh, I can't believe she has 7 kids. That's crazy. Just those little things. And the goal is we want to build relationships across brokerage lines and across county lines, because you are, as a top performing agent, most likely dealing with other top agents. So we want, when you're negotiating a deal or when you've got a client, we want there to be some familiarity there. And then out of that publication, we have and host 4 quarterly events, or 4 events a year. And the events really are a time for the top agents in the market to get together and share ideas. And we do them at model homes or event halls or bars or restaurants around the city. And we have 125 to 200 of the top agents show up. And it literally is a 90-minute to 2.5-hour powwow with the top other performing agents in the market that top agents just don't have the opportunity to get together and meet each other in a situation where they can grow their understanding of each other, but also grow their business because they're sharing ideas with other top performers. So the magazine of Pittsburgh Real Producers is the platform where relationships grow out of, and that's really the goal.
Wow, okay. It's a relationship magazine, and we're in a relationship business. I like it.
That's it.
So where do you see, I'm a big goal person, so where do you see your magazine being in 10 years?
Oh, boy. Well, I'll be honest with you. I've never thought of 10 years from now. I think we're always trying to probably push the envelope a little bit. I see there being a little bit more engagement with the real estate community, meaning, us having an interactive section in the publication. That's something we're going to be pushing probably in the next 6 to 8 months. Like, we'll have a section that says, tell us your top horror story of the month in real estate, and agents will submit their stories, and we'll have because everybody's got these funny stories.
Oh yeah.
So I think I see there being more interactive opportunities. I see the magazine pretty much being the same as far as telling 8 to 10 stories about agents a month, but I see more things evolving out of that. I see us having a big awards banquet at the end of the year for the top 500 people to get together and, nominating most charitable, best dressed, best shoes, cool things like that evolving out of the publication. But really, as I think about what the goal of the magazine is, really a third tenet of the magazine is it is supported by and funded by the vendors that advertise in the publication. And the vendors that we have are recommended by other top performing agents or the brokers that we meet with. And I really see very good bonds happening between top agents and the top vendors. And I see that growing in exponential ways.
Very interesting. Do you plan to open up more markets, or are you going to just solely focus on the Pittsburgh market?
No, I plan on eventually having 4.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have Pittsburgh Real Producers. In June, we launched Youngstown Real Producers.
Oh, nice.
It's actually called Mahoning Valley Real Producers. And I actually just 5 minutes before we jumped on this call was sitting down with a real estate agent in Mahoning Valley. And I also own the rights to Cleveland Real Producers and Akron Canton Real Producers. So I'm originally from Northeastern Ohio. I'm wearing my Cleveland Indians colors today.
Better than a brown shirt, I guess.
Well, that one will come out during football season. So Cleveland area, Akron Canton area is only about within 2 hours from where I live in Pittsburgh. So that is on the radar. Yes.
Very cool. So Gary Keller talks about the one thing. Knowing what you know, what is the one thing that you would give advice to that agent that's maybe new in the business or has hit a wall and is having trouble growing their business? What is that one thing because you hang around with literally the best of the best. So what is that one thing that you see and you hear that you can give as advice to these agents who maybe want to continue growing but are having trouble?
Yeah, the one thing that I would say is do something. When somebody, from what I know and understand, when somebody hits a wall in real estate, the tendency is to kind of take a step back a little bit and evaluate, but then it's hard to kind of take that next step forward, whatever that next step is. Because within real estate, there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. There's a lot of ways to get business. There's a lot of clients out there. There's a lot of markets to focus on. You got to find your niche. You got to find what you like. And you have to do something. You have to go after it. In real estate, the biggest killer of sales is inactivity. If I were starting in real estate or I were hitting a wall in real estate, I would find something and I would go after it. I would whether it's calling for sale by owners, whether it's networking with a specific community, whether it was leveraging contacts with a lender or a title company, or maybe switching things up on a team. I don't know, but I think inactivity based on fear is the biggest killer of sales in the real estate community.
Very true. I mean, you got to do something. You got to go out and I take major action. That's what I'm all about. Is, I mean, even if we're going to try something and implement it into our business, we got to go full bore, and we got to try it out for a long period of time to make sure it's going to work for us. And that's great advice. So we're going to be entering the Blitz Round, which is where I ask the same people that come on the show every time. I ask the same 5 questions. And you may not have an answer to one of the questions, but we're going to ask you it anyways and see how it goes. You're the first non-agent to be on the podcast. So something new that I'm going to hopefully bring to it is starting to bring in some other people around the industry and get some other opinions as well. So starting off, what is your favorite technology tool?
I'm not a techie guy. I like my old iPhone 5, I think it is. I don't know.
You don't have that one tool that you use on a daily basis that
I write all my notes down on a notebook. I put my calendar. I write down things in a handwritten calendar. I am so old school, man. I guess I'm really getting into Microsoft Excel right now. So that would
Excel, okay.
That would be a cool tech tool, I suppose.
Hey, Excel has been around forever, but it is a great tech tool. It's something that I use quite frequently.
Yeah.
So you're not a real estate agent, so you can maybe change this to business book, but I like to ask people what their favorite real estate book is.
Okay. I'll tell you what. I read a book about 4 years ago that changed my life, and it was a book called Radical by an author named David Platt, and it talks about purpose. It's not a business book, but it talks about purpose, I really believe I'm a Christian, and I really believe that when my life is about things that are greater than me, that I work harder for those things. I get up and go to work every single day now, not to make money for Mike Maletich or put money in investments, because I've got enough. I look at the way that I'm growing my business and how hard I'm working now is how can I make a little bit more to kind of further causes around the world or in my local community. So I would say the books that have influenced me the most are the books that give me reason to get up and drive and grind every single day. So those are the things that I look to kind of connect with.
Very cool. I'm taking a note right now. I'm going to check out that book. I'm all about checking out new books that can focus you and give you energy and inspire you to do more.
Yeah.
If you were not doing your magazine, what would you be doing today?
If you would ask me that question 3 years ago, I would have said I'd probably be in sales. If you ask me that question now, I would be a real estate agent.
Okay.
I'm not lying to you. The reward for hard work that I've seen in the real estate community pales in comparison. You work a lot, and there's a decent amount of sacrifice. There's late nights and early mornings and long summers. But the payoff at the end of the day to see, I bought and sold 4 houses myself. And 2 of the most influential people in my business life are the people that sold my homes. The payoff that I've seen for somebody doing a job well done, 100% I'd be a real estate agent, no doubt about it.
Very cool. That's not the answer I was expecting, and we've had some really wild ones from. I think Gina said that she would be a crime scene detective or something like that. It was something along those lines, or a detective of some sort. So, very cool. What is your favorite hobby?
I like to run. Run and read. Yeah, I've run a couple marathons and half marathons, and running kind of puts me in the right frame of mind. So anything athletic, I truly enjoy. And Cleveland sports is a depressing hobby a lot of the times. But,
you love to run, and I hate to run. The only time I can run is if I'm playing a sport, right? I love playing sports. What is your dream vacation?
Any place that involves dream vacation would be spending 2 or 3 days in Las Vegas en route to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico.
Wow.
So I'd spend 10 days in Cabo San Lucas. Those are my 2 favorite places in the world to go. If Cabo San Lucas had casinos, I would skip Las Vegas. I love both of those.
What's your game?
Blackjack.
Blackjack, me too. That's my game as well. My grandfather taught me to play when I was young, and I love blackjack.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, hey, this is great getting to know you some more, and I'm so happy you took the time out of your day to be here. And thank you so much for all your time.
Thanks, Ian. I appreciate it.
Have a good day, Mike.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
Well, Realtor Nation, another great interview. I hope you got as much out of it as I did. For all of our content, please visit our website, dhrea.com/learn. We're looking for more interviewees. So if you're interested in coming on to the show, whether you're in California or Texas or more agents out of Pennsylvania, I'm looking for more people. So please reach out to me. Again, my email is ian@ianhoover.com. And until next time, this is Ian Hoover with the Deacon Hoover Radio Network signing off.